Hey guys, how are you today? We're going to be talking about, I have a little thing on my computer and it's distracting me from seeing you guys. So I got to position myself a little better so I can be like, look like I'm looking in your eyes. Oh, it's a little hard to do. Here, hold on, chickaloots. Okay, here we go. So what I want to say to you guys today is that we've been doing really, really well, I hope, on reverse engineering our lives, living from the end. That's what we talked about last week. And I want you to really marry this concept. It is an incredible life concept that will change you forever. I cannot even promise you enough. I have been living my life like this for quite a while. And there's something about seeing into the future in a creative state as opposed to being in a reactive state to our environment. So what I'm trying to say to you is I can give you examples because I have large, like these team meetings with administration and with all these different people that discuss goals. So we're doing that now. We're going over and we're reverse engineering a lot of like big projects and things that we're doing in the business. But one of the things I see, I'm an innovator. I'm a vision caster. So it's really natural for me to do that. It's how I'm made and it's how God made me. So it's really easy for me to do that. So when I say, okay, by this date, we will be here. And when one of the people who helps me run this business is like, that's not possible. And I'm like, bite your tongue. You cannot ever say that to me. Because I'm sure you guys have heard the quote, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, either way, you're right. So as you're considering your goals, I want you to understand something, that even if you make your goals bigger than you believe they can be, it is very, very important that you do that because having goals, they shouldn't be absolutely so far away from the quarter that you're in or, something that would make you give up quickly. But what they need to be is something that will drive your mind out into that further space to create that bigger thing. So what I was showing them, and I love doing it because I'm like, no, we marry the vision, and then we put it at the date that we want it to be in completion. And then if you look and you say, okay, so how do you break it up into pieces so that it becomes a reality? And what I want you guys to do when you're doing this, and I'm staying with this reverse engineering, this creation of life, and kind of segueing into an ongoing experience where you're understanding the fluidity of life, and that we are the creators of it, whether we know it or not. And you've heard me say this often. It is very important to understand that concept, that we are determining outcomes by the way we think, by the way we feel, by the way we envision, by the goals we set before us. So I have a few things that I'd like you to do this week, and they are super simple and super powerful. All different studies show that people who write down their goals are in such a higher percentage rate than those who don't for success. So I want you to keep your goals ever in your mind. For years and years and years, I have books and journals where every day in the morning, I write down my goals and my gratitude daily. And my goals are wild and they're also practical. So I will write things, about having, buildings or whatever it is. And any of the things that I have gained in my life are on those lists that I've written. And when I've written them, they were so far impossible, and now they're behind me. So I want you to, every single day this week, and if you can make it an ongoing practice, I really, really would like you to do that, that you write every single day goals. So, and don't be like a stickler and weird about it and be like, well, how exactly do I do it? Write what you dream of, but write it in real time. Like write it. So I don't write, I want this. I write, um, I have, I'm just going to make up something. I have a house on the beach, June of 2024. So that would be something I would have on there. I've had things on there. I remember I had, on, I wish I could remember exactly, but I had on my list, I have a one-story medical building, and I had a date. And I'm trying to remember what else it said, a one-story medical building by such a date. I didn't even realize, that it was there. It wasn't even that important to me what I had written down. And then I had looked back, in my gratitude and my goal book, and I was like, oh my God, I have a one. Well, I don't have a one story anymore. Now I have 2 and 3 story, medical buildings. But you know what I mean? Like I had at that time, I was like, I have that. And I didn't even realize it. So what you want to understand, and this is like the concept that I really am so trying to drive home to you guys, and it's becoming more and more familiar in our society, is that we literally manifest our lives. We are the creators of our life. I think of myself as a co-creator with divine, with the divinity, which is God, to me, and I see it that way. So I live that way. So when I feel troubled about something, when I have a problem, when I am worried about something, I meditate and I visualize the problem solved. I also visualize the solution, in a really cool way, something that, so like if you were having, let's say, a conflict with someone, let's just make that up. Very often we're trying to figure out, oh my God, and we're thinking about the conflict. We're thinking about, well, they did this and we did this, and and how am I gonna, and should I talk to them and what do I do? And like all that crap. And you just say no, just clear the decks. And now, because we tend to think from where we are instead of thinking from where we want to be. So what I would do, like if I had something with one of my kids or whatever, I would literally would pull in my driveway and I would visualize and think of them in the state that I wanted them to be. And I would just start, investing my focus and my time in where I need to be, where I believe I belong, what is good, And to me, imagining and dreaming of and creating in my mind things that I know are good, things that I know that are in line with the goodness of God, or the goodness of this, of the way things are supposed to be. If I am aligning with kindness and love and the upgrading of any human being in my life, then what I'm doing is I'm creating good things. And I want you to start thinking about that. When you're thinking about any of your goals for this year, I'm going to say, I'm going to throw out, let's say you have 8 of them. So let's say physically you have a goal that you want to be the most fit in your life and you want to feel great about yourself. To me, that's in alignment with goodness. So what would be the guilt or the problem with holding on to that and showing up for yourself in that way? And reverse engineering. So what does that look like today? This looks like, I have this water bottle. It's 40 ounces and I have 3 of those a day and a glass of 8 ounces of water, right? So that's 128 ounces of water a day. So I create it. And what we're doing in this process, as we're reverse engineering and making these daily time blocked things, is we're creating habits. So we're going to segue into the concept of aligning with your future self, along with creating the habits that support that. Does that make sense? So you looked at your future self last week. Now this week, I'm going to ask you to have your future self write you a letter telling you everything that you've accomplished and who you are right now. Who you are, your future self, is telling you everything that you are. And you're going to allow yourself to embody that and imagine and see her as she is now, because she's visiting you now, and you're going to see her there and have her tell you things. If you want her to comfort you, let her comfort you. I've done this. I could even cry thinking about it. It is the most incredible experience to have yourself show up from the future and give you what you need and show you what you've accomplished and show you who you are and to show you where you're going, because they've already been there. And I'm going to tell you something. Science has not proven at all that time is linear. One thing we do know is that time is sort of a created thing. So time may not exist. So a lot of what we experience, and there's some philosophers and there's some scientists who believe, and Albert Einstein is one of them, who he's been pretty clear, I think, on the possibility or probability of time being folded. So I know that sounds weird, and I hate even putting it out here, but I really want you guys to start thinking outside of the box of our community and of our social environment, and the box of mediocrity and the box that our world has kept us in. And I do want to tell you that through my studies in my life and through the many different things I've discovered and learned, one of the main things I have learned is that as a human race, we are automated, and that the majority of the things that can bring us freedom have so much to do with truth, and they have to do with these little simple changes that I've been doing with you guys. And I do believe that our leaders and the majority of people who are very, very, very high up know all of this. There is not any chance they don't understand science, that, there's a lot of knowledge to be had about what is really happening. We have an operating system, and we are missing a lot of what power that we have inside of us. So the power of seeing into where we're going and not viewing it, like I've told you before, not viewing it as a longing or a separation from us, but seeing it as now, seeing the dream or whatever it is, whatever that spark is that's inside of you, that you know what you're meant to be, where you're meant to go, who you're meant to go with, by creating a connection between that vision and today, you create it. And I always use this example, and it is just so profound to me. I think I don't know, I say it at different times, and I don't know where I've repeated it. And I might have even said it last week, but it's just incredible to me. I tell people that work for me, I'm like, whatever you want to be here, just be it. And I won't have a choice but to pay you for it, and for you to have that dream, because my dream has to be big enough to hold everybody's dream inside that works for me. So I've seen people who are literally come in like as just like a very, very like young person job, that's kind of like you could hire someone who's in college to do. And just because of their thinking, because of their behavior, because of the work that they did the work of the future job without being asked, without being it even discussed. They created a job that I had to give them, and they kept doing it and doing it and doing it until they basically run the place. So, and what I want you to know is that, we have this very, very, very distorted, supported belief that you just want to, like, you luck, or you just want things, it's fate, or something's just gonna, it's not gonna be something that you're just like a passive recipient of it, right? But there's this concept, I might have even said this last week, I don't even remember, but that the success, the bus of success keeps showing up. It just keeps showing up and showing up and showing up and showing up. And opportunities are everywhere. But if you're not ready for them before they come, you're not at the spot. You're not at the bus stop when it arrives. So the thing is, I'm talking about a lot of different things. So I'm going to bring it in. The bottom line is that you're going to be envisioning your future self. Exactly. That's why I wanted you to write that out. Now she's going to write you a letter and you're going to do that. Okay. You're going to do that thing. And I want you to do another thing. I want you to write down. So she's going to come to you with who she is now. She's going to tell you everything you've done and who you are. It's not who you're going to be. It's who you are, because it's all in you. Okay. She's going to tell you all that. The sky's the limit. Do not limit her. Promise me, don't limit her. She's going to give you all that information. After that, in another sitting or one right after it, if it works for you, then you're going to write a list of the habits, of the behaviors, of the actionable steps, of the thinking, of all of that, that will be in support of your future self. Now, when I wrote in the PDF last time, put this in your calendar. So what I want you to understand is those habits, there's going to be from that future self, from her reflection to you of who she is, there's going to be daily habits. So I use the example of water. Like you want to be the most fit in your life, you drink your water every day. If you want to be the most fit in your life, you have, like I work out every day, and it's not a weird, rigid thing, but it can be. And so yesterday I shoveled for hours and intentionally that was my workout. So even though every day there's things in place and they're habits for me, they also, this flexibility at times as well. So my point is that, I also read 10 pages of something that's personal development or business development every single day. So 10 pages a day of reading every day. And I want you to start to think about whatever she tells you, whoever she is. I want you to list the habits, the daily habits, or they may be weekly, but there's something about daily that I'd rather you do. So the daily habits that you would like to develop or that supports what she's telling you. You can even have her tell you what she does every day, what her morning routine is, what her evening routine is. How you can ask her questions. How did you end up, succeeding in this way? How did you end up, manifesting or experiencing this relationship? How did you obtain this much wealth? How did you, drive this car? How did you become so loving? How did you get so connected to God? Tell me what you've done in this period of time to be who you are, my future self. And I'm going to tell you something. If you're peaceful and you're focused, she's going to tell you, because guess what? She's in you. This concept, again, of linear time, that she's not here yet, I don't buy it. She's here if you look for her. She's already in the spark. Even if you look at epigenetics and you look at that inside, a woman, there's all the genetic code of generations. Like it's just insanity, if you think about it, right? So understand that our limited thinking is pretty limited. So we want to open our minds, and this week is going to be about that. It's going to be about creating. It's going to be about listening to, it's about connecting dreams, visions, future to now, living in the now. And your calling to you the magnificence of these perceived future dreams. So I look so forward to talking to you when we start our Wednesdays, our first Wednesdays of every month. This Wednesday that we're starting, we're going to be starting the second Wednesday because the second, I believe, is the date. I actually have something, so I can't do it that very first Wednesday. So we'll just move it to the Wednesday, the second Wednesday. But in the interim, I'm going to be in touch with you. I'm going to be putting things out there. Don't forget about I posted about this upcoming retreat that we're going to do. I don't have a lot of the details yet because we're exploring it. We're trying to see how much money it costs and how we're gonna structure all of it. But it's really should be very, very powerful. And you're more than welcome to invite female friends who you think would really benefit a lot from it. I was planning on keeping it a very small number, like 50 people, because I believe that incredible things can happen and a lot of intimacy can, really be established. One of my main goals in doing this is I just want to get my hands on all of you. I just want to be, like face to face. I don't want to be this distant person on the video. I want to really be able to see you, to hug you, for us to collaborate together in this like really big movement of helping women grow and change. So I'm kind of hoping, I was hoping for that. But in my planning of it, I'm not sure if it will be of better benefit in terms of how the cost goes to keep everybody's cost down, to have more people. I don't know yet, but my goal is to keep it small. So, I'll keep you posted. Okay. So be blessed. I will talk to you soon. Have a great week.